In this video, I'll show how I made a small toy for my son's raincoat. Hey everybody, it's Adrian from Zanza's Toys, back with another project. This time it was a quick little project to both fix and improve something for my son. So it's been raining a ton here in San Francisco. Our son finally understands that raincoats serve a purpose, and he actually likes his now. But his raincoat was missing a zipper pull. I thought it'd be really fun if I could add some sort of toy element to it. So what kind of toy can you build into the zipper pull? So what I came up with is a two-part toy where there's two parts, one that hides the other. So one falls down on top, so the normal state is it's resting on top, hiding something. And then that first part can be pulled up to reveal the second part. There's a lot of things that I could have done with that, but our son, like many kids, loves space. So a rocket blasting off was the perfect thing. So that's what I went with. The first thing I needed to do was to take some measurements for the replacement zipper pull I was going to be using. I used my web-based measuring tool, see here to learn more about that. I didn't think I'd end up using the 1-to-1 scale option, but it was exactly what I needed for this, so I'm glad I added it in. Once I had all the measurements, I headed into FreeCAD to mock up the zipper pull. That way I could just design all the parts around that. This was a really simple object to make, just a simple sketch for the base shape and another to add the hole at the bottom that I'd want my part to attach through. From there I was ready to design the two parts, the hidden part and the moving part. In both cases I planned to print them out in two halves and glue them together. Both parts were simple to make, just some sketches, a pad, and some pockets. It turns out I didn't leave quite enough clearance for the bottom of the zipper pull and the hidden part. More on that later. With the blank parts in hand, I was ready to print a test. The part that attaches to the pull didn't fit quite as nicely as I had hoped for two reasons. One, I hadn't left enough clearance in the part, and two, because the pull had a small protrusion on both sides. In both cases, the answer was a bit of filing. I filed the printed part a bit, and I also filed the zipper pull to remove the bump. After doing that and testing, I was confident enough to move on to aesthetic details. To add the rocket, I went back to FreeCAD and sketched out a rocket shape on the front of the movable part. This went together pretty easily, just a couple of pads for the rocket body and fins, plus a combination pad and pocket to add a window hole. This ended up being a simple and cartoony kind of design, but that's exactly what I was going for with this. I wanted something really fun rather than something realistic. To add some detail for the flames, I turned to Blender. I brought in the blank version and used Blender's sculpting tools to add a suggestion of flames. I definitely still have a lot to learn about sculpting in Blender, and I'm not super happy with the way this turned out. But these details are so small that they get obscured by the layer lines anyways, so I thought this was fine. Once that was done, I printed the final versions in proper colors. I glued the two halves of the flames together onto the zipper pull, and the two halves of the rocket part together separately. But when I tried to slide the flames into the rocket, I found that they were way too thick. I think I must have made a mistake when adding the flame details, but instead of reworking the files and reprinting, I just went with what I had. This meant a fair amount of work with files and even a drill bit to add some additional clearance to the rocket part. While it took a bit of time, I think it was still faster to use what I had than it would have been to remake the files and reprint. Finally, after working with it a bit, I had a nice, smoothly sliding rocket that moved up and down easily on the flames. For one final little touch, I printed out a window in white and added it into the rocket with a bit of superglue and a few gentle taps with a mallet. All that was left was to actually attach it to the jacket. It was easily done by just adding the zipper pull to the zipper and squeezing the strip of metal meant to hold it shut with a pair of pliers. So there we have it. The jacket's been restored to full functionality and with a nice little play element added. There are definitely some things I would have done slightly differently. Part of this project was to challenge myself to see, one, if I could make a toy that would fit on a zipper pull and still have some sort of fun play feature, and two, could I get it all done in a single evening? And I did. Rather than iterate too much on the design, since I knew I was only going to make one of these, I just went ahead and relied on conventional approaches like sanding. That's not always the right decision, but sometimes doing lots of iterations of a design is also not the right thing. Overall, I'm really happy with how this came out. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more indie toy design and development, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.